This is an 8-iron, and it's a dead shank.
Wow.
Way right.
Oh, takes a hop off the path.
You got to be kidding me. Very tough pitch shot right here. You got to hit it into the hill. One hop up and bite, and it's in.
Kind of like that.
Well, I would like to welcome the winner of 29 professional events all around the world, including, I think, the greatest championship in the world, the Open Championship, Ryder Cups, President's Cups. This player has seen it and done it all. Mark Calcavecchia, hey, thanks for taking the time to come on today. Always love the conversations we have. So appreciate it, sir.
Yeah, Jason. My pleasure.
First off, how's the back feeling? I know you finally had surgery. I'm assuming it just got bad enough where you had to make that call. How's the prognosis, and when are we going to see you back out in the Champions Tour?
Yeah, it did get bad enough, and I thought it sounded like a great idea at the time, but it's been going pretty slow. I'm actually meeting with my doctor again tomorrow. I've had a lot of spasms in the last few weeks, which are just debilitating, as you know, when your back grabs out of nowhere. And so I'm not exactly sure what's wrong. I can't quite do that. Well, I can't do the rehab at all because of the spasms. So I'm kind of feeling like I'm falling behind the 8 ball a little bit. But it's only been just over 2 months. So, my doc said it'd take, he said before the surgery he'd be surprised if I was doing more than chipping by May. So maybe I'm not too far behind schedule, but yeah, it's a long process, and hopefully it'll all be worth it.
Basically, just wear and tear of all those years of hitting a golf ball that hard, the body just kind of broke down, I'm assuming, a little bit.
Yeah, it really started bothering me about 6 years ago on the Champions Tour, and I probably should have done it then, but I was only 54, 55 then, and I thought I could kind of tough it out and just management with epidurals and things like that. But I finally just got tired of all that. And, I have, my spine was kind of full of arthritis, and I had a disc, bulging disc pinching a nerve. I've got a cyst in there pinching a nerve and some bone spurs and just all kinds of yucky stuff. So the doctor went ahead and fused the L4, L5, and gave the nerves plenty of room to move around. But yeah, it's just taking a while. So it's tough to be patient with it, is what it is. I don't mind sitting around for a while, but this is getting ridiculous.
Yeah, and that's one of those things, right, where you talk to people who have it, and it just takes a long time to get fully healthy, right? Like it's one of those. It's a long haul on that surgery to get it back. I mean, to go play golf at the level you guys play golf at, right? You'll probably be able to get around, like you said, by May. But I mean, to go out there and compete, right. That's a road, man. Like see a lot of golfers in their 30s out for a whole season who have that, and it takes that long to get back.
And I've read things that other people have said that have had it that are younger than me and probably in much better shape, and they said they didn't quite feel right for 10 to 12 months. So it probably will be a whole year process. I mean, I do hope I can get out and play, without too much pain or any pain by July or August, and at least play, 7 or 8 or 9 tournaments at the end of the year. But, if not, then I'll just write the year off and try to get super ready for 2022.
Do you miss it, or is it nice to have a break after all these years of traveling, being on the road? Did you miss it more than you thought, or are you okay with just, after all the traveling, everything you've done, just to take some time, spend some time with Brenda and just chill out for a little bit?
That's a good question. And if COVID wouldn't have happened, I probably would have told you it's been a nice break. But once we stopped playing the first week of March last year, and I didn't touch a club for 53 days, I realized I missed it. I mean, I thought prior to that retirement maybe could be right around the corner. But then once COVID hit and we were forced to take 5 months off, then I realized, well, shoot, I don't want to do this the rest of my life. I love golf. I want to keep playing. So that's kind of why I went ahead and went ahead with the surgery to hopefully give me another 5 or 6 years of playing decent golf on the Champions Tour before I kind of finally shut it down or pare back, at least pare back my schedule quite a bit. So, no, I do miss it. I watch it every week on TV. So and that makes you miss it as well. So, I'll certainly be anxious to get out once I start feeling better and at least doing some chipping or hit some bunker shots or do something.
It's in the DNA at this point, right? You've competed at the highest level for so long. The thought, because you're still young enough to do it. Longer's still very competitive, obviously in his 60s. A lot of guys are still playing some really competitive golf out there. I agree, you do have 4 or 5, 6 good years. It's so interesting after all you accomplished, but it's still that love, that desire to compete. It's still in there after all these years. That just shows how much love you still have for the game. Because you could just say, I've accomplished everything I've ever wanted to accomplish, which, your career speaks for itself. And yet you still want to put the work in, go out there and compete and see how you stack up. I love it, man. I think it's the coolest thing after all these years that you're still there.
Yeah, it sure is. I still want to do it. And looking forward to it when I can get back at it.
Let's talk Players Championship. It's always back and forth this year, and I'm more on board than ever. If they went back and made it a major, and there's 5 majors, I'm cool with it. The tournament to me is growing in stature. Not that it wasn't huge 20 years ago, but it feels like a major. Where do you kind of put this one at? And when you were out there playing, how did you treat it? Kind of give me your sense of that tournament from a couple thousand feet in the air.
Yeah, I just kind of always felt like it was the 5th biggest tournament in the world, just because of the way it is, with the 4 majors. Oh, Christ, the dogs are fighting now. With the 4 majors, so if it's not one thing, it's another. I got to break up a dog fight.
That's all right.
But every time I played in it, I loved it. Certainly I think it's the best field in golf, which it is. And it's, the most money. It's got the most of a lot of everything. And the more and more and more as time goes by, I do feel like it has a major feel to it. Certainly everybody would love to win it. And it's fun to watch. You can feel the atmosphere. You can feel the intensity of the tournament. And that's what's fun about it. And obviously the last 3 holes are amongst the greatest finish in golf, where obviously anything can happen. So it kind of adds to the whole thing. But yeah, it was fun to watch. I saw most of it Thursday and all of it Sunday and parts of it Friday and Saturday, but watched quite a bit. And I honestly was cheering for Lee Westwood. I've known Lee forever, it seems like. And man, it's just great to see him playing the best golf of his life at 47 years old. And he looks like he's having fun doing it, and that's the whole secret, really. Everybody says, "Yeah, have more fun when you play, Calc." I said, "Well, if I keep missing 3-footers, it's pretty hard to have fun. It's a give and take type thing." But Lee's when he went to the claw, he started putting better, and man, he's been playing great. So it was a fun tournament to watch. But having said all that, what Justin Thomas did on 9, 10, 11, and 12, where he hit every shot as perfect as you can hit it, and to play those 4 holes 5 under, that was pretty impressive as well.
Yeah, it was cool to see that, even though Westwood didn't win, no one really kind of fell, I guess, Bryson a little bit, but he came back with the eagle. The quality of play from the guys who could have won it was pretty impressive. I mean, that golf course was playing hard, and to see them battle it out, that's why it's such a great tournament. I'll get to Westwood in a second, because I got some questions for you, because you played really well in your 40s and where that mindset is. But on that back 9, when you were in contention in that tournament, when you got to that 10th tee, did you always feel like there was a 31 or a 32 out there on the back, so you never felt like you were out of it? Was that kind of the feeling you had going into that Sunday at the Players, in the sense that someone could shoot a 40 and someone could shoot a 30, and you were never fully out of it if you were within 3 or 4 shots?
Right. No, that's exactly the way I thought. Because really, you have 2 par 5s that are reachable. Back then, 12 was a 3-wood sand wedge hole. It wasn't the drivable hole that it is now, but it was still an easy hole. And you felt like if you could par birdie 10, then maybe birdie or 11 or 12, and who knows what can happen on 16. You feel like you could shoot 400 or 500 in the back nine. But then also 17 and 18 are always in the back of your mind too, where you always have a little bit of anticipation leading up to those two holes. But like you just said earlier, I mean, everybody played really good down the stretch. I mean, nobody imploded where that they had a chance to win and made a couple of doubles or something coming in. So it was really, really good golf by everybody, I thought. On very tough conditions.
Did the pin, the traditional Sunday pin at 17, did that always look pretty good to your eye for the most part? Were you going at it with your little fade? Was that something that just, if it was the right number, you'd go at it versus playing conservative for the most part?
Yeah, I always tried to hit it, right at the ridge and just hit a little cut. Usually for me it was back then it was a 9-iron. Sometimes it was a wedge, but usually it seemed like it was a 9-iron shot. And I had good success in that hole. I don't think I made a whole lot of birdies there, but I really only, of the 20-some players I played in, I really only think I hit it in the water no more than 2 or 3 times. So I had pretty good success in that hole. I remember 90 when Jody Mudd clipped me by one. I was one down going into 17, but I'd birdied 16 and had the honor. So I felt like it was a little bit into the wind. It was playing tough. I felt like I pretty much had to hit it on the green. I couldn't afford to throw one in the pond there and put the pressure on him because I had third covered by about 5, I think, at that time. So sure enough, I hit a pretty good 9-iron in the middle of the green, and Jody gets up there and just dead pushes his 9-iron straight at the flag. And I'm like, there's no way in hell he was aiming there. So sure enough, he hit it in there about 2 feet and made birdie, and then he bogeyed the last hole, but he clipped me by 1. But that was my best chance to win, and I just needed Jody to hit a bad shot for me, but he pushed it right at the hole, and it was it was kind of his time. But it's such a fun hole.
Yeah, then 18 too. Watching Justin Thomas step up there both days and hit that rope draw with a fairway wood. God, you got to have some guts to get it going towards the trouble, right? I have to imagine most of the guys are going to peel it away from that trouble, and I'll take right rough if I have to. Like, God, that was a gutsy play with it all on the line, especially on Sunday.
I think he hit it quite a ways out on the toe too. It was kind of more of a looping rope draw. You saw after he hit the shot, he kind of leaned on his caddy's shoulders, like, wow, I got away with that one. I don't think it was the best shot, but yeah, I mean, he was trying to hit a nice hard hook there, and that's a hard shot to pull off under that kind of pressure. And even though he hit a little off the toe, he got away with it, and that was that.
Yeah, it's he got the fake bounce.
I seem to remember years past. Yeah, years past, guys flaring it out in the mound way right and blowing in the trees, and man, it just seemed like this year everybody just got up there and laced it right down the middle. It was good stuff.
But don't you think that might be equipment and ball a little bit more than it was 20 years ago? I mean, right? I mean, the confidence in the driver now. I mean, I don't play 3-wood off as an amateur. I don't play 3-woods off any tees. I can hit that driver with a modern ball as straight as anything anymore. So, just get up there and hit it. I think it's got to be a huge part of that too. That the fear of God. I remember the equipment of 20 years ago. It didn't take much to get that thing turned in left or not to to not have that line. To me, that equipment's made that shot a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah, 100% correct. The shafts and the 3-woods and the way these guys play now, it's almost an accident if they hit one left or way over there in the water where they feel like they can stand up there now and just make a normal swing and it's not going to go left and they can just aim it right down the middle and just rifle it. And that's a lot to do with the ball and the clubs for sure.
Let's talk about playing good golf in your 40s. You referred to Lee Westwood, and I was looking at your track record in the 40s. And you were like an ATM and a winning machine out there. You look at 3 wins in your 40s, but every year it was really great, consistent golf. And like I said, Westwood's sort of accomplishing that on both sides of the pond with winning the race to Dubai, and he looks comfortable and happy. And what did you find in your 40s? Was it a freedom that you sort of had played great golf for a long period of time, so it's gravy at this point? I mean, where did what was the advantage, I guess, you would have in your 40s when looking back now of playing so great all the way up to the Champions Tour and being competitive on the PGA Tour, guys, 20 years younger than you were, and you were still right there every single year. What contributed, I guess, and do you see that same sort of facet that when you watch Westwood, you're like, oh, I remember that period of time of playing great golf, and you can understand where he's sort of at.
Yeah, for sure. It was, I was one of the few guys, especially back then, that was fully exempt right up until, they turned 50. So that was pretty cool, and I was proud that I was able to do that. I think I met Brenda at the Memorial Tournament, my wife now, in 2001, and I was just about to turn 41. And I think, once we started going out and she started traveling with me, and it was also new to her, it was almost like I was anxious to show her everything, and show off and take her to all these cool places. And it almost like reinvented my career, where it was like I was starting over because, she had never seen any of these places. So it was, I think that had a lot to do with my enthusiasm for golf through my 40s. And obviously, I wanted her to see me win, and to win 3 times in my 40s was pretty cool. Winning the Canadian Open in 05 was a huge highlight, and then of course Pods in 07 when I was 47. So I never really thought about how old I was for some reason. I just felt like if I knew my game, and I knew if I played great and made enough putts, I could have a chance. And that's kind of why you show up every week. You just feel like if everything goes right, you never know, you could possibly win a tournament, and that's what's so fun about it.
Was there you kind of made the thing I was thinking here, but in the sense that you knew what you could do at that point, and you knew what you probably couldn't do at that point, and was there a mental advantage almost in your 40s where you had so much experience and you've seen everything, and you've won and you've lost and you've been there so many times? Did even though physically you might not have the same speed you were at 28, was there almost an advantage in your 40s of just your mental approach and knowing what you can do and what you can't do almost?
Well, I knew my game, and I knew, on certain holes that I could hit the fairway and I could hit the shot that I needed to hit. And then when I play with some of these younger kids, they're kind of hitting it all over the map, or, in the left trees or whatever. And it was just something that I knew in my head that I was confident enough to get up there and hit the shot, on certain holes. So that certainly helped all the way through my 40s. At that point, the younger guys started blowing it way by me, which wasn't a whole lot of fun, but I was starting to lose a little bit of speed. I never really worried about it until I got into my mid-50s when my back went south. You can look at my stats. I think it was between the time I was 54 and 55, I lost 20 yards in 1 year, and that was just kind of the start of it. I was still getting it out there really nice at 289, and the next year I hit it 269, and that's a big difference. And that's kind of another reason I kind of went ahead and did this back thing, hoping I could work out, get stronger, and get some more speed, and get a little more distance out there, even in my 60s.
Speaking of distance, love your take on just the whole Bryson experiment. What he's doing, where he's going. Obviously, it's paying off, but.
Right.
Yeah, it's an interesting dive, right? I don't think there's any other player who's ever transformed their body, and he was always long, but not the longest out there, and is now, playing this different type of golf. I mean, you've seen a lot. What's sort of your take on that whole situation and the journey he's on per se?
Well, he's got like 3 different gears. He's got his normal little swing, and then he, when the left foot starts spinning out a little bit faster, then he's putting a little more into it. Then when he goes all out like he did at number 6 at Bay Hill, that's the full Monty. That's when he goes at it as hard as he can. So it's pretty interesting that he has these different stages in where he wants to hit his driver. It is fun to watch him blast it full blast. I get a kick out of that as much as anybody else does, but you got to give him credit. He figured to himself if he can be, by far the longest player on tour, and yet still keep it somewhere near the fairway, That's got to be a huge advantage, and it is, and it served him just perfectly at Wingfoot because nobody could hit the fairways anyway. So you figure you might as well just bomb it up there 40 yards past everybody and have a wedge into the green instead of trying to, gouge a 5-iron out of the hay. It was perfect strategy for him. But it's fun to watch. After he got done, or you've seen it the last month or two, he goes to the range and he's there till it's pitch dark, and he's just waffling drivers. Man, I don't know how you do that, but
yeah, I was going to say
that makes my back hurt a little extra just looking at that.
Yeah, it almost seems like he's like pushing himself for like about a 10-year run. I just can't imagine like the body holding up at when he's 40, trying to swing that hard at it. After 10 years, he's not going to have a day job. But golf's going to be interesting to see with the guys going at it that hard. Is it more like a normal NBA career? 37, 38, there's just not much left in the tank. The body has given it everything it had.
Right.
It's worth it, and that's okay. You're just not going to be that same athlete that you once were. It'll be interesting to see how long he can put that effort in without having some sort of a breakdown. Either not mental breakdown, but just like, I don't want to do this anymore, or my body can't do it.
Oh, I agree. I watch him swing at it like that and just hit drive after drive after drive on the range. And it'll be interesting to see how long he lasts. That's a good point. I remember one year after a tournament, I was so mad after my round, I went to the range and I hit about 75 drivers as hard and as fast as I could hit them. I think I was intentionally trying to hurt myself. I was so mad. But all I got out of that was a sore back and a blister on my hand. So that backfired. But he does it every day.
Yeah, and I always like when you go watch a tour event, most of the guys, at least I recall, there's a hell of a lot more putting and chipping and wedge work than it is full golf swings, right? I mean, when you were practicing and on the PGA Tour and your body would allow more practice, you didn't spend a hell of a lot of time hitting drivers or 7-irons, did you, in full swings? It was more of the...
I didn't. I was never a big practicer after the round. If I didn't play very well, I'd go hit, maybe a bucket of balls. But I wouldn't generally just stand there and hit drivers till I was physically exhausted. I'd hit wedges and 9-irons and 7-irons and stuff like that. That's not too physically taxing on your body. Or I just go hit bunker shots and chips and go putt for a while. I did spend more time, and I've always said I've always enjoyed practicing the short game more than standing on the range pounding balls. I really do enjoy practicing chipping and hitting bunker shots. And, putting, I can last for about a half an hour at best before my back starts killing me. So I can't stand out there for 2 or 3 hours and putt like some guys do. But, I think now you watch the guys on tour now, as good as they are, every one of them's got just a stellar short game. They really do. They hit great bunker shots. They hit great chips, and it seems like they're all good putters. So it's kind of cool to see.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting experiment to see what he's doing, and also too, like how much he's improved his putting, because the putter's, it doesn't look real natural. Obviously, it doesn't have this great flowing stroke that he just, but yet it's working, right? He's all locked in. He's, you would never teach anyone to kind of be that stiff and robotic, but damn, the ball's going in the hole. Like he's figured that out.
Oh, you watch his putter blade, and it just, even on his practice stroke, it just stays so square. The whole stroke, it's just square to square. He doesn't flare it open like Ben Crenshaw used to, or some of the other guys. It's just so square, it's ridiculous. It just almost seems like it's hard for him to hit a bad putt. That's another thing you got to give him credit for, because, to putt like that, nobody else putts like that. A few people put it inside their arm, like Kuchar, and I forget who else just started doing that. But, yeah, he just rocks his shoulders, and the putter face stays square, and that's another thing that he's figured out how to be really good at.
Yeah, it's like I said, man, it doesn't look quote unquote beautiful, but the results speak for themselves. He's turned himself into a really good putter, and it was interesting you were talking about how he has those 3 gears. I watched him when he won his first event at the John Deere Classic that Friday of the week he won, and watched him all 18 holes, followed him, and I noticed that even before he changed his game, but he still had 3 gears, and he had all 9 shots. And I watched him, and I said to my buddies, I said, "This kid's got it." Yeah, he just had different gears, and he hit the right trajectory on the right shot as it was called for, both directions in trajectory control. And I remember that 9th hole at the John Deere, that long par 4.
Par 4,
Yep, 3-wood 8-iron. And he had that next gear to watch the clubs that they pulled. There was hardly anybody out there, and he had that 290-yard 3-wood if he wanted it. To turn a hook. And I said, this he's going to be special. You could see the talent, and it's interesting to see how it's blossoming out there for him. He's a hell of a player, man. You got to give him credit on it.
Oh, you sure do. I agree.
I was going to ask you on this.
It's fun to watch.
1,000%. Yeah, I think he's great for golf. Oh, I was going to ask you too, with the bombing thing and hitting it 40 yards down there farther than you guys used to and wedging it on. Would you change pro golf with equipment or at the elite level, ball or club, or are you fine with the way the game is now being played and let us all play the same equipment, or would you think about bifurcation at the elite level versus us amateurs?
I just think it's too complicated to try to accomplish something like that. I'm fine with the way things are now. I said maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I was kind of hoping that technology would just kind of form itself out, and the ball can only go so far, and shafts are good, club heads are good, but you put all that together with how good a shape most of these guys are in, and how strong they are. And no matter what the club head is, I mean, Bryson still, if he pulled out my wooden driver from the 80s, he's still going to swing it, 100 and whatever miles an hour, 135 miles an hour, and have 180 some odd mile an hour ball speed, even with a wood. So it's still all about speed and how hard these guys swing. So couple that with the balls and the technology, I'm okay with it. You look at these last 4 tournaments. Riviera, the scores weren't that low. The course isn't that long. There's some long holes, but Concession I've never played. I didn't watch much of that. But, Bay Hill and the Players, the scores weren't really that low. I mean, basically the weather was dead perfect every day last week, and the scores still weren't super duper low. Nobody was going out there shooting 62s and 3s. And then you get a course like Hilton Head, where if the wind starts swirling around, it's a beast, and it's 6,700 yards long. So I think golf's in a great place, and you can't start sorting up balls for amateurs and even old pros like myself. I mean, like I said, the last 3 or 4 years I'm driving at 270, not 340. So I would be super bummed out if I could only hit it, 240 off the tee. That wouldn't be much fun at all. So I think everything's in a good spot, and golf is as healthy as it's been.
That's what I'm thinking. As someone who owns an equipment company, you're going to have a revolt if they change the rules for everybody. If it wasn't, I mean, who's going to want to hit their 5-wood 185 yards, right? Like people they're just going to say, I don't care.
Good. You'd have a revolt. Right.
Yeah, I don't care. Just give me the old equipment. This is nuts. I always say from my home course, the tips, it's a classic 120-year-old golf course, small greens, 6,500 yards from the tips. The best players might shoot 68 or 69 out there every blue moon. They don't.
Yeah.
And that's a plus handicap.
Yep.
It's you're talking such a small percentage that they're worried about. To me, I don't understand it, and the detriment of sort of like when they banned the belly putter. You got a 58-year-old guy with a yip, and he's better with bellying it and enjoys the game more. I don't know. Let him have the damn thing. What difference does it make at this point? So.
And believe me, I've tried everything. I've tried the long putter. I've tried the belly putter, and for a little while I was okay with the belly putter, and then I just lost it. you still got to read the putt right. You got to hit at the right speed. It's still difficult. I've tried the long putter. I'm great inside 5 feet, but I can't make a putt outside 5 or 6 feet with it. So for whatever reason, it just doesn't work for me. And if some old guy out there putts a lot better, jamming the end of the putter in his belly button and has more fun playing golf, I mean, that's the way it should be.
I agree with you. I agree. And like I said, if they roll everything back, ball and everything that spins again, and average handicap, if you read that report, hasn't gone down in the last 25 years. So you're just going to be pissing people off with already a very difficult game for 99.99% of the people. Golf is a real challenge, right? Just go to any golf course and watch, the first 5 holes of guys teeing off.
Exactly.
It's hard.
It's a hard game. It's a hard game no matter what.
It's a hard game. You watch the best athletes in the world who played one sport, and then watch them go try to be a zero handicap at golf. And I don't care how athletic you are, that's a challenge for most people, right? It doesn't translate over. If you're Michael Jordan, it doesn't mean you're a +3 on the golf course 2 years later. It's a really, really hard thing to learn. So make the equipment. I'm with you on this, Calc. Leave it alone. Let it be. You can do things to the golf course to, like, watch what happens this week at Honda. That's not going to be 20 under par.
No.
You can do things to the course to get scores that are reasonable if the PGA Tour wants that, where they don't want 25 under. If you want 12, 13 under, they know how to set the course up to let that happen. One last one I was going to ask you on a player, because we were digging into this, and you probably have been there, and it's almost like, how should us amateurs look at this? So you look at Sergio's round on Friday, and missed 6 putts inside of 8 feet, lost 3 strokes to the field on that, but he shoots the 7 under the day before, so he had this horrible day on the greens, hitting it great. As a tour player, how would you handle a day like that when the ball striking's there? The one part of your game is just you had it one day and it's gone. And then what should us amateurs sort of do when we're close maybe, but there's a part of the game not working so well, and how should we approach it to sort of on that third round to try to go in and get back what we had on that Thursday round? Like, that was an anomaly of you don't see a touring pro go from that good that one day to the next day and struggle like that when they're already playing good golf. So how would you approach that, or how should us amateurs approach it as well? Sort of a 2-part question.
Right, yeah. Sergio made a bunch of great putts on Thursday, and then Friday, I think he just gets a little tentative. With him, I think if he was just a little bit more aggressive putting consistently, he'd be better. Now, I don't know if he realized that and worked on that when he got done, but it just seemed like he was kind of wishing a lot of putts up there. It happens to all of us. One day you putt great, and the next day the hole looks like the size of a thimble. You just got to still try to just get your read and focus on hitting a good putt and hope it goes in. Even Justin Thomas on Sunday made nothing on the front 9. And then finally he made that, 7-footer on 10 for birdie, and he gave it the fist pump like, I'm back. It just takes one putt. And that's the great thing about golf. Sometimes when you're not playing very good or hitting it very good, and all of a sudden you hit a 7-iron a foot from the hole, you're like, all right, I'm back. I got it. I just found it all of a sudden. And the same goes for putting. When they're not going in and you're just kind of baffled, just keep going at it, and just sooner or later one's got to go in, and it'll make you feel a whole lot better.
So in your mind, you would just stay aggressive with the putter. So if we're struggling a little bit, just find your line and don't worry about pushing it 2 or 3 feet past that hole. Make a good aggressive putt. You like that style more?
Make a positive stroke. Yes, I do. That's what I like to do. And when I'm struggling putting, I just try to stay positive and stay aggressive and just keep hitting good putts. Or just tell yourself you're hitting good putts. It's got to go in sooner or later. And even though it's frustrating, and I've been there a million times, I just try to tell myself to just make a positive stroke at it and not try to just wish it up there at the hole and hope for a miracle. I'd rather be aggressive and put a good effort on it, and you got a better chance of making it that way, I think.
Calc, I can't thank you enough for today. It's great stuff. I love your insights. Like I said, with all the experience you have, it's always it's great to talk to you and to kind of analyze these tournaments. And certainly, golf is better on the Champions Tour when you're out there firing some birdies. So I hope you're feeling better. Looking forward to hopefully seeing you late in the year and playing a little bit. And hope you guys are doing well. And like I said, thanks for your time on this one. I greatly appreciate it.
You got it, Jason. Anytime.